because they have a point and click snare from Ryze, allowing them to deal with Noir et Blanc really, really well. I think that's one of the biggest things. But overall, Jarvan's got to play this smart. He can clear faster. He's got the stats. The stats are in his favor. Refugee is going to have a slightly slower sort of clear because not only is she going to get leashed by Maokai,
yeah, I think
is not exactly the greatest unless he starts sampling. And if he does start sampling, if it becomes a 2v2 fight, it's going to be in the favor of Fiora and Jarvan.
And going down the domination path as your primary path actually gives you that default bonus. We know like every path now gives you a bonus depending on which one you choose. And for Jarvan, he will have extra, AD and AP simply because he chose domination. And that gives him a potential level 2 gank. But if you look at Taylor's University's side, ganking the bot lane isn't really as easy as you think. You might get counter kill because Jarvan isn't really the kind of tanky jungler. He can go in, he can dish out a lot of damage, sure, but you have control from Leona, you have the burst from Lucian, and suddenly you realize that Lucian has an ignite, and Lucian has heal, and Leona has ignite. And if they turn it around, even a 3v2 can go really bad. But we just have to see how it works out, as we can clearly see, Dion has that arcane comet with him on the rise.
I absolutely agree. Now, Refugee taking red is going to be interesting. Now they're trying to match each other's with clears, because with this match they're going to be able to come at the same place at the same time. Now the question is, depending on which lane is going to be a little bit pushed in or which is more favorable, they have to decide whether they want to go mid or top, because that's where the ganks are going to come in now. Oh, that's actually a very interesting trade. Superior actually taking quite a bit of damage there. Lulu, he's still good.
Still good at level 1, as we see Toxic already hitting level 2, and that is where Cassiopeia's strength comes in. You shove your opponent out of the lane, put them under constant pressure, and you can essentially survive without much jungle pressure with proper warding. But if you look at the top lane, you can see Ben's Fiora actually has priority over Orange Dino Maokai, simply because you do a lot more damage by proccing vitals, you can heal a lot more, and if Orange Dino decides to go all in on you, you have the riposte to stun him, you have your E to deal crit and then to slow him down. So there's not a matchup in favor of Taylor's University's top lane. We'll see if Chewy actually meets up with Refugee, because he's taking Skullcrab and Refugee might just run into him. The pings are actually coming out. Refugee, hesitating where to go in. He does not have the smite, but he's going to steal the Skullcrab away. Takes a hit from Chewy, and Taylor's University off at a good start.
Oh, a little too early for flag and drag there. Not exactly the greatest estimation of damage, but that's still fine. But that allows a lot of pressure to be released off that side of the map. As we know that Fiora is pushing in, Maokai's not going to have a good time. Regardless, it's fine. But we now know he can't gank efficiently as Envision will deny Jarvan his early gank. But so far, he hasn't got his Predator boots yet, and I think that's going to be the major factor here. Once he gets it, he needs the gank, and the question is he going to dive somebody if the favor, if it's not in his favor? Because he has to force it. If not, what else are you going to do with it?
I think Jarvan will play a really big role in the early game as compared to Refugee, because Refugee spike comes at level 6 when he gets that Glacial Prison. And if you look at all the lane matchup, when let's say Maokai really hits level 6, suddenly you realize that lane priority will immediately switch from APU to Taylor's side, because now you have so much control that even Fiora, if you are on a Fiora that knows how to do well, you can't really do much damage if you're constantly CC'd. And the same goes for Toxic in the middle lane, Cassiopeia hitting that level 6 spike. Same goes for the bottom lane. Suddenly you have Solar Flare, you have the culling, and it will put APU at such a disadvantage in terms of lane pressure that they might not be able to recover from, especially if someone starts to get killed.
And I absolutely love what Chewy is doing here. He immediately buys 2 control wards, a refillable potion, and he's immediately got his boots. I think that's the biggest factor here. Getting your boots is important, but the 2 control wards, I think it's going to be great because they're trying to keep a lot of pressure off of Andy and Sophie in the bot lane. So if he maintains control of that area, they know when to back off and they know when not to get dived. They can save their slumps and they can save their ultimate when the time comes right, because we know that by the time the bot lane is going to get ganked again, based on the jungle paths, we know that for sure Sejuani is going to probably be 6 or level 5 unless she diverts right now.
And if you look at the vision control, you realize that APU has full control at the bottom, but Chewy is coming in, the Rune Prince is going to land, and Toxic is going to cleanse and flash out immediately. No kills coming in for APU, but that is a good start for Asia Pacific University.
Definitely. I'm expecting to see a repeat gank sooner or later, but Chewy's going to go back into his jungle, pick up some more items, and hopefully get into one of his smites. I'm not sure whether he's going to take green smite to ensure the extra vision around bot side, or maybe even just their jungle in general to always keep tabs on where Refugee is at all times.
I think Refugee now is doing working on the crux for APU sides at the top side. It's not okay. There's no potential for gank right now. I think Ben realizes that hey, Refugee might be at the top side because the bottom side of Taylor University's jungle is completely controlled.
Yep.
Simply because Chewy went in, dropped a control ward, dropped a ward from the Stalker's machete, and it kind of discourages TU from actually ganking the bottom lane because they know bottom lane is not the lane that can handle too much pressure when level 6 hits. And that is where they don't want the Sejuani to visit.
Definitely, definitely. And now bot lane so far is going so well. No big engages from Superior here. Oh no!
Oh yeah, the Xenoblade will come in and suddenly Sophie is in a lot of trouble. Drop the Ignite gets land! He lands, help picks onto herself, gets dropped low. And again, that is the aggression we're talking about. No kills coming in. But Sophie is forced to burn her sums.
Perfect timing by Superior here. Sadly enough, Sophie has to break her sums here. She doesn't have cleanse on herself. There's no way for herself to protect her. She managed to preemptively heal herself, but Ignite got onto it and negating most of the damage that was supposed to be dealt. But hopefully, luckily enough, she shielded herself, played that extremely well. But this could spell doom as now Refugee is going to hit 6, and he's eventually going to dive bot.
And Sophie actually now without sums, she can't really recall, because the moment she recalls, Andy will have to follow that back timing. And again, with Illusion, Leona bot lane, that bot tower is going to take a whole lot of damage. So either they match the recall timing, or they have to stay there and hopefully survive, or wait for assistance from either the Ryze or the Jarvan. Because now Ryze has the round walk. He can come in to provide assistance, and Chewy has that Predator's active effect. But again, Andy is going to get engaged on Noah Blanc, doing a lot of damage. Superior taking some damage in return, but she's going to absorb more of the damage based on that resistance. And again, Noah Blanc going in with the relentless pursuit. Andy trying to fire back Polymorph onto that Lucian. Ooh. Still a fair trade, but the aggression is being shown by Taylor's University side. APU really have to step up their game and be more cautious.
Absolutely. Chewy's coming in here. Hopefully they might walk into this. Is he going to face check? Nah, good decision by Taylor's University. Now you can see Sophie's doing so much damage. She used all of her pots to get back up to full health. And even though the trade didn't go into their favor in the first 2 seconds of it, as Noir Blanc was making his way back, he took so much damage just off of Sophie alone. So this really proves that so far, supports are going to be a major focus early on in the game because they have so much damage to use. Now, Chewy is going around. He's got a Predator move. He needs to do something. It's kind of hard because every lane seems to always either be pushed in or they're waiting for a time to counterattack.
And I think the Predator's build has kind of a downside because it has a fairly long cooldown. So if you don't really utilize it to get off a good gank, you are essentially wasting the keystone, because again, Predator's boots slowly falls off when you progress into the late game. And I know that we've talked about this with the new Runes Reforged, game paces are much faster, but what if it drags on? Suddenly you realize that TU has better damage, better team fighting, simply because of how the team is built around. They have 3 champions that can die behind, they have 2 champions that can deal consistent bursts, and even though APU has really good dueling power, it's really hard for them to sustain against so much CC. You need cleanse, you might need QSS. If someone gets called out, they might just die because you have so much CC. But Refugee will spot Chewy. He's gonna land that Permaculture. One more will land. Permaculture will land. Superior comes in with the ultimate, and Toxic will get the kill for Refugee. First blood going over to Taylor's University.
Absolutely perfect chain CC there. There was no way he could get out of this. He still has both summoners. Didn't have enough mana to flag and drag out of there. Amazing chain CC by the side of Taylor's University. And Superior was there at the right time. Now, I understand what Chewy was going for there. He was definitely, with one of his keystones being, not keystones, one of his runes being Zombie Pearl, he's going around using his vision as much as possible to assert. He's going to deny vision, and then he's going to claim vision with that passive of Zombie Pearl, Zombie wards to get more vision and to ensure that his team is safe. But so far, it's actually kind of backfiring on him as Moby Boots on Leona manages to get to him first.
FTC have to look back at the first blood. Toxic Miasma changed everything. Denying the flag and drag, denying the flash from Chewy, and that just essentially locks him down and giving Refugee first blood now. With that being said, Jarvan, initially the plan was to go aggressive, try to look for ganks, but suddenly you die to the enemy jungler, and Refugee already has the Cinder Hawk, the Barmy Cinder. Now he's a lot more tankier. If he decides to rush for that first item Warwalk, you will suddenly find that Jarvan is going to be so less effective that he will fall off much earlier than intended.
I do agree there. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but at this point of time, Chewie's best option, even though he can't get a lot of ganks off, is to deny Refugee as much gank potential as possible. He already hit level 6, but no dives have been used yet. And it looks like his ultimate is coming back up in another 15 seconds or so we might see a dive, but so far Chewie's doing a good job just keeping tabs on Refugee at all times, despite getting punished for it during that first blood.
Then trying to go aggressive from Orange Dino. He retaliates with the root, but the repulse will stun the Maokai out, and they're still duking it out, and so far Ben getting that early Tiamat gives him lane priority. He can push faster, he can lock Orange Dino under his turret, essentially not allowing him to teleport, but the sweeper will spot Chewie. Chewie actually going to the side to prevent detection, but that control will spot him out. Refugee knows that he can't stay there for long, he's going to back off into the brush, and it's so bot lane focused right now. Both junglers are there trying to look for an opening, and you look at the bot lane control from the side of APU. Water the brush, control what outside the bramble, the red buff, and you see another ward close to the river, and they are basically denying as much vision as they can from TU's side with that zombie ward and with the Scarlet Crab control. But so far, I don't think they have been making use of it. You see Refugee actually at the bottom, Mr. comes in with the Cinderblade, the stun, and the root will land. Solafan comes in, Sophie, no way out! Refugee gets the second heal, but the teleport is coming in from Ben. Will he complete? He actually completes it, and Refugee will get knocked out. Cataclysm onto Superior. Superior's taking out, but suddenly the Maokai will come in. Nation's ground, 3 points of get knocked out. Refugee goes down first. Ben picks up the first kill, but he will die in return. Dion joins the fight. He says, I want a piece of the action, but TU will back up for now. But Cassiopeia says, you are not running away. Comes in, has the ultimate, has the flash root from Orange Dino. The clash is forced to be used from Dion, but Chewie might be the casualty. No, he escaped root prison. Last hit on Orange Dino. He almost tried to dive. Flash Andy. Wrong auto attack. And no casualties for TU. Ben picking up the only kill from that fight, and that is a catastrophe for APU.
Oh, what a trade. That was such a crazy trade there. Both sides really dedicating. This is what it was coming down to. Everybody used all their summoners just to get to that bottom lane to keep their ADCs alive. The most important is that their ADs managed to get. Fiora got a kill. She did die, and that's absolutely unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do with that with so much CC. However, APU did a really good effort to try and salvage the situation. They really put Taylor's University on the run there, as most came out with lethal amount of health if they were to get hit by one more auto attack. But that really just puts Toxic in a really good position. He's shoving the lane in really hard. Ryan's not going to lose too much as there is an enemy there. That's unfortunate enough, but Ben, oh boy. If we want APU to win, if you're rooting for APU, you're going to have to bet that Ben and Dion plus Andy do a really outstanding job here. Because one of them is guaranteed to die.
And I think Dion just now, I kind of felt like it was a bit too conservative. He has the round walk, he can get in faster instead of just walking into the fight. And we saw that he took Arcane Comet as his keystone, but he didn't really do much within that fight. He was forced to run away, and he might just run with him this, but will he be able to do perma force? Solafan lands down, no wave out for him. He's trying to get out, Wild Glove will come down, the Glacial Prison will lock him down. Refugee picks up the third kill, and suddenly Chewie says, I want to join the fight and join him in the grave. Double kill for the Sejuani.
That was really unfortunate there. Gets caught out instantly. Taylor's University really playing their vision effectively. They put it, they lay it out, they predict, and now they're going to go for a free kill.
Oh, Andy, I don't see a way out from him. He's just going to do as much damage as he can. Refugee, suddenly 5-1. The culling comes in, almost giving Sophie a back massage. But as we said, level 6 spike is where Taylor University wants to play around, and they are doing just that.
They're going to take first tower here, and that was a great decision making by the side of TU. They knew that Sophie didn't have her ultimate. They knew she had her heal down. They instantly thought, oh, hey, don't have ult, don't have heal. All I have to do is just kill Andy, who's flashless. Go for it. And that was the decision, and they took it instantaneously. This is what I want to see here. This is some high-grade games here. They know what they want. And the play styles of both sides is coming up really well. It's unfortunate that the side of APU is getting punished, though.
That is what I kind of mentioned, that TU knows what they want. They're somehow out-drafting APU simply because they have been showing that, hey, we want to go aggressive, but APU says that you want to go aggressive, we will try to take lane priority away from you. But they didn't make it happen, and once Taylors got the first kill onto Chewy, and they snowball their lead off of a level 6 bite from all the lanes, and suddenly APU finds themselves in a predicament that I can win your lane, I can get plus 50 CS, but I'm losing objectives left and right, and that is not the ideal situation for a team comp that focuses on skirmishes.
I think this was kind of expected. There was nothing APU could have done better. Well, I could say they could execute things better, but I can't expect to do too much there because a lot of those situations were just well played there. Maybe with better execution, they could have salvaged a lot more and lessened the amount of damage, but it's damage regardless. Now, losing bot lane, it was kind of expected. We all saw that coming. We all knew that they wanted to take that the bot lane fight was not going to be good, so they abused it. Oh no!
And speaking about abuse, Chewy might just be the next casualty. Toxic picks out a kill. Yon forced to pop that class, forced to run away. And TU is all over the map, and we can kind of expect them to rotate to the top lane, but we'll see what happens right now. Refugee is making its way up, but Superior is waiting in the sidelines. Has that ultimate, has the ignite. And again, we'll see if the games work out for them. They might just go and sweep the brush. No one is there.
Dive.
Superior will dive. Sophie suddenly has to flash away early. Nowhere for her to go, but the Blade will land onto the Lulu. Lulu gets stunned. Permafrost up. Knock. Charge into the air. Solar Flare comes down. Suddenly, power of the sun. She falls. And TU picks up another kill for themselves.
Now this is becoming more and more inevitable. They're trying to push their lead, knowing that their sums is down. As long as their sums are down, their cooldown's going to be so much faster, and they're going to take as many kills possible away from the side of APU. And this is starting to look kind of grim, but if they play this a little bit better, they might be able to take this away from them if Taylor's University makes a mistake. Right now they're playing absolutely perfect, and I think Chewy is trying too hard to deny vision from the side of Taylor's University and is getting punished absolutely hard for it.
I like Refugee's choice of rune for the Resolve tree because he runs Demolish, and you know Sejuani stacks max HP, Demolish deals a flat amount plus 30% of your max HP, and with that team composition that gives you a lane priority once you complete a gank, you can essentially take down objectives really fast, and we saw how fast the top lane tower goes down, and suddenly Ben has nowhere for him to safely farm without being ganked, without being at risk of getting killed by TU. And it's only 17 minutes and 30 seconds and TU are up by 7 kills. And APU, they really have to step up the game right now. They don't have a window for them to take objectives. They are losing control all over us. And you see for the Vision side, they were aggressive at first, putting Vision in TU's lower part of jungle, but suddenly they've been moving their Vision upwards and upwards into their own jungle. And that just shows how much TU has been pressuring them.
Yeah. TU is definitely punishing Chewy every single time, because his playstyle is to deny vision and to use his lovely powers as much as possible to gain the vision to at least have. But overall, he's just getting caught out, and it's becoming really apparent that this needs to change. Something needs to change here. As they will use their Rift Herald to try and take another tower, they are just snowballing their lead as hard as possible. A 5k gold lead. This might even go up to a 10k gold lead if this continues.
And you see TU actually rotating all their members to the middle lane. They know that if APU decides to force a fight, they will come out on top simply because of the CC that they have, the tankiness that they provide. And Refugee already has a Warmox armor, and he's going to benefit his runes, he's going to benefit his survivability, he's going to benefit his durability. Everything, essentially everything that Sejuani needs to beat that front line. And Ben is being shoved under his tower so much that he can't really rotate. Yes, he has teleport, but what can you do if you go into a fight where your team can't even survive the initial dive? And you see now they are trying to deny as much vision as they can from APU, from TU, but I don't see the pressure dropping. Baron is coming up in approximately 45 seconds, and once Taylor University gets the power in the middle lane, they can suddenly the Baron, but they'll force the fight right now. Chewy is going to get locked out, and suddenly you see Orizana at the back. Solar Flare will land. Chewy dropping really low. Has that wild on me. You can't catch him onto the Maokai, but Orizana will drop in down first. Dion forced to cleanse away, but the Vans will drop. Refugee picks up the second kill of the fight, and Orange Dino somehow still surviving, and the second tier turret in the middle lane will drop in favor of Taylor University. They say, screw the Baron, we are working on the inhibitor turrets, we might just take the game. It's almost 20 minutes, but who cares if Baron is coming up or not, because we are taking the first game. Inhibitor will definitely drop, and APU are really in a bad spot.
Yeah, and it's really obvious to see that Taylor's University is really showing their dominance here, but it's all calculated. It's not like they are just good because they are good. It's everything has been calculated. They know exactly what they need to do, and they know exactly what they want to do based on what they know in terms of information. And APU, they're trying to get side lanes, they're trying to salvage as many objectives, but the goal lead is just breaking apart, and it's one bad fight can spell the doom for APU at this point in the game, and Taylor's might just take game 1 off of this unless they make a major mistake, which, to be honest, it's not going to be easy for them to make a mistake at this point. Even if they flunk a Baron fight, it's not going to turn the tides entirely, but it's going to be a continuous chain that's going to happen, and it has to happen sooner or later if APU wants to stay into this.
I have to agree with that. Ben just got the bottom tier turret from TU side, but again, there's no way for the Fiora to join the fight regardless of how strong she is, simply because of the amount of lockdown, simply because there's no front line to back her up. She cannot survive that long. Yes, she can win a 1v1, she can press a lane, but when it comes to a teamfight environment, there's no way for him, to stay in there long enough to do enough damage to pop that grand challenge. And with that being said, suddenly you see the whole team of TU rotating to the bottom lane. Ben trying to escape desperately, but the Righteous God is going to lock him down. Suddenly Superior shows his fate, and Ben tries to parry his way out. And Refugee comes out from the back, surprise! It's like a Pokemon fight, it's like a Pokemon hunt, and we have 4 people hunting for the one Fiora. He's going to get locked down, and Noah Blanc will pick up a kill for himself.
Whether this was an overkill entirely, I'm not too sure. They probably could have done it without the cull. This is going to be really big for them. They're going to be able to get something here. That's going to add on to the amount of siege that they're already putting onto the side of APU. Fiora definitely got caught out there. There's nothing much you could do as it happened all so quickly. I think definitely there needs to be some better communication. Obviously, we saw that Leona was already during the bot side river, and Jarvan did spot her out. So I'm not sure what the decision making there was, to keep pushing or try and get their way out, but it was a very good decision from Orange Dynamo to lock her down as much as he can, to slow her just enough to get Leona to ensure that kill.
And Fiora can't really split push as much simply because there's no vision control. Yes, you have a deep ward in the bottom quadrant of jungle, but it's not going to matter much if TU can just walk through your vision and still kill you in the end. That is like the worst case scenario that can happen, and now they're trying to sneak on the bottom, and Sivir just walks forward and stuns Ben, forced to use the repulse to block us on the stuns, but the solar flag will land on the Fiora, and suddenly Dion will be the sacrificial lamb. Refugee is unstoppable, the fight will ensue. Nature's God will come in, the backline will be knocked down. Ben trying to go on a 1v5, pops the grand challenge, but that's the wrong challenge that he took, and a double kill for Refugee.
Just look at the amount of damage. Overall, their tanks don't do a lot. Only Maokai has pretty high base damage, but in general, the only person who's absolutely strong and the most amount of damage that comes up is from Lucian's press the attack. He gets one person to press the attack, and suddenly everybody is dealing a crazy amount of damage. This is a really cool interaction, because not only is it coming from his support, which I was expecting, his entire team is benefiting from this if it's a 1v5 situation, or better yet, even if it's, as long as the numbers are in his favor, they are going to win fights. And I'm seeing now that Lucian actually can proc this on multiple people if he gets 2 rotations of his entire spell cast. So this is actually a really cool interaction that's happening. Learning a lot from these games.
And press the attack does not have an interval between procs. You can proc it on multiple champions,
yes.
as long as you can reset it as much as you want, and you can proc it in multiple ways. You can have the call. If the call hits everyone, at least three bullets hit the champion, they will have press the attack. If you do a full rotation and it hits multiple champion, they will have press the attack on them. And now with 2 inhibitors down for the side of APU, TU definitely will be looking for the Baron, and they're putting ban on defense duty, but I think they know that there's no way that they can contest the Baron unless a miracle still comes in from Chewy. But this is going to back off because TU is already establishing dominance. Yes, you have the control ward with you, but TU is just going to go in and sweep everything out, and they can just work on Baron and push for the final win.
Yeah, they're going to have to be very, very careful, especially since TU has so much engaged potential here. APU is struggling to get anything. Oh boy, Dion might actually get caught here.
And suddenly Flag and drag away, but Dion walks into the solar flare, will cleanse himself out. The Miasma will slow the rest of APU down, but Refugee is still waiting at the sidelines. They are not really considering about the Baron, they just want to push APU away from now. But now with their opponents being corralled into the base, they can safely work on the Baron, and I don't see any way for APU to contest that.
Yeah, an unnecessary threat from beyond there. I think he was expecting to get followed up, so he epically used it to get out of the situation. But I think looked at the situation a little bit more, they would utilize with the numbers and the power was in their favor. So, sadly enough, TU takes Free Summoner and Baron.
With the Baron buff on Taylor's University side, they don't even need to back off. They have full health, they have all the ultimates. Summoners are coming back up for every single member. They just need to focus on the top lane. Middle lane has the inhibitor backup, but there's no inhibitor turret. You can just shout the middle lane when you feel like it. And Ben has been at the bottom lane for so long, at least 5 minutes, and that just means that he cannot join any fight because he needs to defend against the super minions. And there's a deep ward in the bottom lane of APU side, and if Orange Dino decides to teleport in, he can do that as well and flank APU. Now TU is going to work on the last inhibitor turret, slowly and painfully choke APU out. We'll see what APU has in plan to stop TU.
I think this game is pretty much decided.
Orange Dino goes in, roots Sophie up. Suddenly beyond will for Andy, who takes a lot of stun to the face. He draws, but Ben teleports in with half health. Not sure what he wants to do. Triple kill for Noah Blanc. Will he go for a quadra? I don't think quadra kill is his concern. His concern is the win inhibitor will fall, and TU will slowly push Sophie, doing her best to defend against the onslaught of Taylor's University, but suddenly demolished. Will proc the sapling, will zone the Lulu out, and TU take down the first Nexus turret. Second Nexus turret is going to drop. The Nexus will be worked on, and the Taylor's University squad will take the first win in this best of 3.
Now that was a really interesting game. Yep, it was clear. It was dictated the moment he came into the team. They engaged, they already knew what they wanted to do. And overall,